Anti-Semitism has been a problem on the left for years. Now the Republican Party is dealing with a growing problem of its own from the far right.
Well, recently, the issue exploded in a national way, a national spotlight. An influential podcaster hosted a well-known anti-Semite on his program. CBN's chief political analyst David Brody has the story.
Republican conservatives are facing a looming crisis. The evil of anti-Semitism has infiltrated the ranks.
In the last 6 months, I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right than I have in my entire life. This is a poison, and I believe we are facing an existential crisis in our party and in our country.
This time, it's not limited to podcaster Candace Owens spouting Jewish conspiracy theories. This past week, center stage belonged to this guy, Nick Fuentes, who has suggested perfidious Jews should be executed.
If you are against organized Jewry, you're on my team.
His social media videos are seen by millions, especially young men who champion the America First mantra. Recently, popular influencer Tucker Carlson gave Fuentes a huge platform on his show.
Nick Fuentes, thank you for doing this.
Instead of challenging Fuentes on past statements of denying the severity of the Holocaust and praising the evil Joseph Stalin, Carlson gave him a pass with virtually no pushback. Josh Hammer, who wrote the book Israel and Civilization, says Carlson is playing with fire because we live in an era when public institutions are losing trust, so we don't know exactly who and what to believe.
I think the American people have lost the ability in many ways to distinguish right from wrong, fact from fiction. And putting on my historian's cap, David, thinking back over the past few thousand years of Western civilizational history, there are historically been one people who most disproportionately are harmed when a society loses the ability to distinguish right from wrong, fact from fiction. That, unfortunately, is the Jewish people.
Hammer and other conservatives have watched with dismay as Carlson spends an inordinate amount of time focusing on Jews.
It is an actual deep, profound obsession, and a very unhealthy obsession at that.
His guests range from Holocaust deniers to those accusing Israel of committing genocide in Gaza, and even suggesting Israel's spy agency is somehow involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Carlson also insulted millions of evangelicals during the Fuentes interview by calling Christian Zionist support for Israel a brain virus.
I dislike them more than anybody, because what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian.
Although he since apologized, the damage from the program remains. Liz Harrington is a former spokeswoman for President Trump.
When I listen to that Nick Fuentes interview, I hear two people that really don't seem very familiar with the Bible. Israel will always be attacked. It will always be a dividing line because it's central to God's plan for salvation for everyone. And you know who can't stand that? The devil.
That chaos played out further in conservative circles when the Heritage Foundation's president, Kevin Roberts, defended Carlson's interview with Fuentes.
The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail.
Roberts later attempted to apologize, although it still left angry staffers and turmoil inside the conservative think tank. In the end, this creeping anti-Semitism on the far right could be a nightmare for the GOP. And if it's not dealt with quickly, Hammer predicts disaster.
That would be the death knell for the Republican Party as a politically salient political vehicle in America. The moment really does call for the leading men of the moment, folks like President Trump, folks like Vice President J.D. Vance, whoever else wants to rise to the challenge, who has the gravitas, the credibility to do so, to do the right thing.
Until then, the forecast will be for tough sledding and slippery roads ahead for a Republican president and Congress trying to hold on to power. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
This has been a really terrible week for the Republican Party. You know, for months, many months, the Democratic Party has been receiving incoming saying they have no leadership, poor leadership, that they're out of touch with the American people, that they're tone deaf to the concerns of Americans, but they won big this week. You look at the last 72 hours, New Jersey, New York City, Virginia. The momentum this week for the Democratic Party is huge. Now for the Republicans, for the GOP, you add this vile hate, this stench that is being spewed out of really influential people on the far right. They may not hold political elected office, but they have powerful voices. Holocaust deniers, Jew haters, and maybe most deplorable, they are wrapping Jesus Christ in a robe of political nature that is damaging to the gospel. And think what you want of Ted Cruz, but for months, many months, he's been beating the drum about the anti-Semitic voice rising out of the extreme right and in this country. And it's dangerous, and it's hurting the Republican Party. And the voices we should be listening to are tens of millions of Americans who are suffering because of this shutdown, which is now, I believe, in day 37.